Where Credit is Due, the podcast that reminds the business world that credit isn't back office. It's front office and mission control. I'm Mike Bevilacqua.
And I'm Matt. And today's episode is a short preview of what's coming up March 23rd through the 25th in Charleston, South Carolina at CRF's Spring Forum. And honestly, if you're in credit, AR, or revenue cycle management as a leader, this agenda reads less like a conference and more like a survival guide for the next 18 months. And here's one better for you, and a great reason to join us if you're a non-CRF member. We have a fantastic opportunity for professionals to come join us at a rate of $399 as an introductory rate for non-members. To register, send a note to Angela McDonald at angelam@crfonline.org. That's Angela M at letter C, letter R, letter F, online.org.
Now that's one heck of a value and reason to give it a try. Add to that, because the environment we're operating in right now, it's different. Capital's tighter, tariffs are moving markets, and small businesses are feeling the pressure. Supply chains are still fragile, and bankruptcy risk is growing at an alarming rate. The 3-week rolling average for large bankruptcies is 6. That's the highest since the pandemic, and it's showing up in real portfolios. That's as of the new year.
And Mike, we're certainly seeing it through our own metrics that we run, our DSO, best possible CEI, and delinquency reports, and bad debt as well. Hey, let's jump into a little bit about the forum itself. The content is so rich. I want folks to hear about what the opportunity is. And the first one that I want to address with folks is that we have a topic on the macro pressures that nobody can ignore. One session that I'm particularly watching is how trade policy is hitting balance sheets. Tariffs aren't just a policy issue anymore. They're showing up in pricing pressure, margin compression, and liquidity stress.
You know, Matt, and that's the key. When margins tighten, working capital becomes oxygen. Plays back to what you were just talking about with DSO slowing. When working capital gets tight, credit really becomes more of a strategy. And when credit isn't prepared, companies don't just slow down, they fail.
Yeah, and this session that we're having, it's going to walk folks through how tariff shocks cascade into bankruptcy risk. And more importantly, which financial indicators start flashing red first. Because if you can spot the signals early, you don't need to react. You can lead your organization through it.
So another segment's going to address AI, and it's titled AI Isn't Replacing Credit, It's Weaponizing It. So let's talk about AI. Everyone's hearing the noise, and out there's two sides of a coin. But what half the vendors are promising magic, and the other half are selling fear.
No, so right, Mike. And this session cuts through all of that. It's focused on real signals coming out of the credit market. It's not theory, it's not hype. It's actual atomized patterns across suppliers, distributors, and rental companies.
And that's gold, because the question isn't, shouldn't we use AI? That ship sailed. The question is, where does AI actually move the needle?
You're right, Mike. Which workflows produce measurable results? Which ones create risk? Which ones are wasting time? That's the difference between innovation and expensive experimentation out there.
You want to be on the right side of that for sure. Also, we've got the labor reality and automation reality. So that's another big one. As you think about labor markets, they're tight, and really trying to find the right skilled finance talent is really harder to find now than pre-pandemic. Costs are up and productivity pressure is real.
And leaders are being forced to rethink how to get work done. This session brings real data from CFO surveys and economic indicators to show what's actually happening versus what the headlines are telling everybody.
So then it goes into practical automation, not theory. No buzzwords, real world deployment, governance, and change management with real ROI on the deployment of those resources, Matt.
Yeah, because automation doesn't fail due to technology. We all know that. It fails because of implementation and expectations. What better place than the forum to learn what's worked, what didn't work, and from leading experts in the field today.
Yeah, and then one of the other segments is going to be around the CFO language credit must speak. Here, a lot of credit initiatives stall, not because they're bad ideas, because they're explained poorly.
Mike, I love this topic. You're exactly spot on. Credit teams see inefficiencies every day. We all know that. But turning those into CFO approved business cases is so critical. That's the hurdle and a must have for you to drive success.
There's a session walking through how leaders are building ROI driven cases that actually get funded. Real examples, real numbers, real outcomes. A tested playbook for participants to digest.
Yeah, and what that means is instead of just saying we need a tool or we need something new, you can say something like this initiative improves cash flow by X or reduces write-offs by Y or pays for itself in a certain number of months. It's speaking the right language. It's an absolutely fantastic topic.
And those are like words that the CFO wants to hear versus, hey, we just purchased Vapor. That is definitely the language decision makers and a career boosting move is made out of.
Mike, let's keep it rolling because this forum is full of it's content rich. And we have another topic out there, the hidden risks most teams still miss. And one topic that's not getting enough attention these days is the rehypothecation of risk inside supply chain finance programs. Remember that word, rehypothecation? It's one you need to learn. And let's expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, let's start with translation for anyone not living in the weeds. Assets getting pledged multiple times. Same collateral, different lenders, layers of leverage nobody sees until something breaks. We've seen this in the First Brands bankruptcy, and BlackRock, a super sophisticated investor, got caught up in the Cariox fraud, where bogus receivable backstopped $400 million in loans. Not small potatoes.
The number is staggering. And recent bankruptcies expose just how messy that can get. Priority gets muddy, liquidity disappears, trade creditors find out they're not as protected as they thought they were.
Yeah, this session's going to reframe supply chain finance through that risk lens. And frankly, understanding this isn't optional anymore. It's table stakes.
Yeah, it certainly is. So critical. An absolutely fantastic topic. Keeping it rolling, we're going to be reviewing a session on managing SMB credit at scale. Let's talk about small and mid-sized customers here because they're so critical to a portfolio. New businesses are forming fast daily. Ownerships are changing almost hourly. And thin credit files are an issue with limited history out there. Again, managing SMB credit at scale.
Matt, at the same time, credit teams are being asked to process more applications faster with fewer people.
And Mike, what I like about this session is we're going to have a practitioner panel up there. So practitioners listening to your peers, how companies like AutoZone and others manage SMB portfolios at scale using verified onboarding, real-time signals, and coordinated third-party support to manage that portfolio.
Wow, that's about handling volume without losing control.
And how can we not have a session right now without thinking about M&A risk? Most teams don't see some of this coming. So we're going to be talking about acquisitions and divestitures and picking up, again, as we see it in the marketplace. Every time a deal happens, AR inherits risk nobody talked about during the due diligence. Again, maybe on the back end, now they got to manage it.
Yeah, I haven't been through a few of these. Those unrecorded credits, customer concentration risk, bad debt reserves, systems that don't talk to each other, and that famous TSA, transaction service agreement, period, where nothing works the way it's supposed to, Matt.
Mike, it sounds like you've been through this a few times and certainly a true professional all the way. This panel is focused on the operational realities credit teams actually face post-close during an event. Not theory, execution, and another blueprint for organizations either acquiring or divesting divisions, product lines, or other companies.
Yeah. So another topic, credit as a strategic leadership function. There's also that leadership session I love. We always have something for people to take back with them. The idea is simple but powerful. Modern credit leadership isn't about avoiding risk. It's about steering through it, Matt.
And what that means is using structured and unstructured data, understanding risk appetite, knowing when to escalate and when to support growth. It's all about being strategic and aligned to your organization's expectations to drive success in the war against bad debt.
Because the leaders who win aren't the ones who say no. They're the ones who know when to say yes safely. More importantly, how to structure yes so that it works for your company.
Yeah, so important in these times. Again, moving this along, another session for us, and this one's a little bit different. It's economic intelligence that most forecasts miss. You're not going to want to miss this topic. There's also a session, it's digging into economic signals that you don't see on CNBC. It's labor analytics, it's mobility trends, it's regional performance data. It is an absolutely fantastic session. I can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good one, and it really matters because national averages don't tell you what your customer regions are doing. This is going to be really interesting presentation where we're going to hear about states and industries at a much more granular level. It's going to be eye-opening.
No, it certainly is. If you know which states and industries are strengthening, you can allocate your credit more intelligently. That's a competitive advantage and another reason to participate in the upcoming forum that we're going to have in Charleston just next month, where the weather, hopefully for everybody that will be attending, is much better than what they've been seeing. I'm certainly looking forward to not seeing some snow.
There you go. Then another subject, think about this one, Matt, turning credit into a profit center. One of these sessions is going to focus on unconventional strategies to generate real cash flow and revenue.
I love the mindset change here. It's about thinking outside of the box. It's not about cutting costs. It's about creating value. We will hear from practitioners again who have implemented strategies to create unconventional revenue in their operations, turning credit into a profit center. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and we're talking about fee optimization, forecasting, governance safeguards, and tactics that reduce DSO while strengthening budgets. It's about turning what's traditionally been a cost center into a hybrid partial profit center.
Absolutely fantastic. It's that shift. It's that mindset change, again, from credit as a cost center to credit as a profit driver for their business. Want to be strategic? Think about becoming a profit driver for your business.
Absolutely. Here's the bottom line. This Charleston meeting isn't about theory. It's about preparation.
And preparation for tighter liquidity, faster risk cycles, smarter automation, and a business environment where credit decisions move markets inside of your own organization.
So if your role touches on cash flow, risk, receivables, or working capital, it isn't optional learning. It's strategic infrastructure.
And just as a reminder, March 23rd through the 25th, we're going to be in Charleston, South Carolina, and
we'll see you there.
Absolutely fabulous. Thanks for paying attention, folks. We look forward to seeing you. If we can support you in any way, reach out to anybody on the CRF team.
It's where credit is due.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon, folks.